Welcome back to the Green Beans Go channel. It's your host, me. We got a public service announcement, an important update, a meeting of the mind, singular, and it deals with the current state of affairs in both gambling Twitter and my personal betting life. So, as you know from many videos that I make, my accounts are cooked, my outs are limited, I can't get down, and the dream that I once had of doing the EV betting and arbitrage betting and promo betting forever, which was maybe an unrealistic dream given the landscape of the space, is all but gone. And I came across an account called ParlayPros. And a lot of you, if you're watching this, have maybe heard of them. And some of you may not have heard of them. And I'm going to explain what I know about them and ultimately what led me to purchase their very expensive course that outlines their strategy. And then I wouldn't call it fallout, but just honest reviews. And it's a weird thing because I want to be honest with you guys, but I can only be so honest out of respect for them because they have a product that they are charging for behind a paywall. And as soon as what is taught in this course is leaked, they no longer have a product, and I don't think that's fair to them. So in no way, shape, or form is the intent of this video to leak their edge. I value edges. I hold edges near and dear to my heart, and I understand that not only is there value in an edge, but there is certainly value in an edge that you are selling for profit, which we can talk about the legitimacy of that and what I believe about that in another video. I understand, like many of you, that it's March Madness Day. It's the best day of the year, in my opinion. This is my favorite sporting event day ever. So I don't want to take up a ton of time, but I also know I could have made this video better. I could have included screenshots. I could have included, but this is more of a podcast, just full on Green Beans Go rant style video, which by now you guys are all accustomed to. No edits too, all accustomed to. I'll get it out somehow. So what is Parlay Pros? Parlay Pros is two guys who know what they're doing. These are two high IQ individuals, and I know that for a fact. They are way smarter than I am, period. They are way smarter than a lot of people. And they have been able to, and I'm only going to speak on things that they have publicly shown. So any of this that I say, you can identify. They have shown that they have been able to beat all the sports books, all the rec sports books. They have posted screenshots of massive wins from Ballybet, Bet365, DraftKings, FanDuel, you name it. If it's a rec book with a same game parlay feature, they have a posted slip taking them for hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now, naturally, I thought this was too good to be true. I thought there's no way that this is actually legitimate. And I talked with them, I messaged them a few weeks back, and I said, would you guys want to do a call? Because a lot of people were calling them scammers. A lot of people said, we don't believe that you're winning all this. If this was actually true, all these books would patch it. They wouldn't let this go on. They don't get taken for this amount of money lightly, right? Like things that you and I both know is true, okay? And I have a legitimate ladybug crawling on my camera right now, and it's incredibly distracting. So I'm going to flick it off and hope that it goes and finds its other way. I don't know. I read you can't get rid of the ladybug. It is invasive, and it will be here to stay. There's nothing you can do. So we just live with them, and we try to coexist. But when they're on my computer, so I asked them if I could have a talk with them, and I called them on Twitter, on the Twitter phone, for 45 minutes. And this was a few weeks ago, like I said, and I was able to come to the conclusion that they were sharp. Like they knew what they were doing. They had an edge, and I was curious about it. And I got some information, but my interest was piqued, but I continued living my life, and they launched their course a few weeks later because the course wasn't available at that time. They launched their course a few weeks later, and I just was in this spot of, this, I don't think it's a scam. And if I knew, like if I had an idea that it was a scam, I would not have been curious about purchase. But what got me, the hook that dug into me, it dug into my curiosity in my brain. The hook was that I knew they had an edge. And I am desperate at this time for an edge because if you think about the psychology of where I am in my sports betting career, edges die so quickly, right? If there is an edge that I can exploit, and in their case, it is a same game parlay, right? I'm not giving away anything. Everything they've posted is same game parlay related. I can get down on FanDuel with high limits for same game parlays. So if their edge exists, which I believe it does, I have an out, and that is FanDuel same game parlay. Like this could be my last chance. And so there's a little bit of greed that goes into this story because, again, I have made a living sports betting for so long, and it's becoming very difficult to do that. And so part of me saw this as an opportunity to revitalize that, to give chest compressions and rescue breaths to my betting career. So I purchased it. It was a lot of money. It was a lot of money. It was $999. And the way I justified it, because normally I would not pay for anything. Let's be very clear. And a lot of people who are watching this are going to say, you are an idiot. Like, you are stupid for doing that. Like, it's possible to fit, like looking back, yeah, their edge is probably going to be leaked soon enough. Like, all it takes, and this is what I told them. I said, it takes one set of loose lips to get into your course. It's all over. Like, you're selling something that once I watch the course, like, I could sit here and I could explain everything for free about what it all entails, right? And I think this is where I get hung up on the scam piece of it. We'll talk about that in a second. We'll go back to the cost. So I know in this space from experience that I have let a lot of opportunities pass because I was risk averse. I was actually talking to a semi-friend, somebody I met in this space, who we were kind of at odds. We kind of bump heads a little bit. And he's always called me out for being slightly risk averse. And he always wanted me to capitalize on plus EV positions years and years ago when there was low-hanging fruit. And I always opted for the safe arbitrage route because I think there's value in the security of the mind and of the emotions in some ways. And the way my life was with a kid and a wife and a low cost of living, like, arbitrage and taking a safe guaranteed route was more suitable for my lifestyle. I didn't want to live a plus EV high variance sports betting lifestyle. Okay. And obviously now that's changed now that I've built a bankroll and now that I'm able to stomach a little more variance. But at that time, he kind of gave me a hard time, but it was all out of love. It was tough love. And I don't handle tough love well. I'm a very much an encouraging, positive affirmation guy. So we kind of butted heads and we were talking. And he says, you have to take risk in this space. And I thought, this is a risk. Like, buying this course is a risk. I will tell you that I participated in a promotion for a sports book. And it was like it was on DraftKings Pick 6, which is a very underutilized app with a lot of promos right now. DraftKings Pick 6, it's very similar to an underdog or a prize pick format where you have player props and you click more or less and you can build out. And they offered a promotion where there was a streak. And I was able to be one of 5 people who continued the streak that they were setting up for their contest for 5 days. And so I won a sizable amount of money, all right? Like, more than I've probably won in a single sitting for my betting career. And I thought, okay, how can I take this money and flip it and reinvest it into something that can make me more money? Because that's what sports betting is. It's using your bankroll to maximize other opportunities. So I said, I can take a portion of what I won from this contest and I can reinvest it into this ParlayPros course. And that is how I justified it. Would I normally spend $1,000 on anything? No. But I had just conveniently won a portion of money. And so I thought, I can set aside a portion of this for more upside. So I did. But I did because I talked to this guy first. And I said, look, I have no outs. I said, I don't have access to any other book for same game parlays except FanDuel. And he says, oh, what are your limits? So I showed him. He said, plenty. You will have plenty of opportunities with that. Okay. So I joined and I watched all the course. And I will say this, they put a lot of time into the course. Almost, I would say, too much time. Their course is like you're sitting down for a college lecture during COVID. Now, I was past college during COVID. I was doing teaching I was actually being a teacher, but like their course is very literally a PowerPoint slides and both of them explaining things. So that's fine. Like but they put a lot of effort into it. I mean, hours had to go in creating this course, and it's very detailed. It explains exactly how they thought about things. It shows what I would expect it to show for the cost. Now, this is where we start getting into the S word, the scam word, because is their course worth the money? No. I will flat out tell you, from my experience as a sports bettor, the course itself is not worth the money. Now, this was my own laziness and not doing my due diligence. They are launching a Discord soon. Okay. One, my big hang up is that don't charge people before your product is totally ready to go. Like, you charged me and I paid for it. Like, I'm not mad at them. I'm mad at them, but I'm not mad at them. Like, I take responsibility. You charge me, and their Discord drops Monday, but you have to pay extra, which I didn't realize. So you pay $1,000 to learn the basics of their strategy. And I will tell you that with their strategy, I don't feel equipped to implement it, because there is a lot of facets within their strategy. Like, their strategy will just say this: there are consistent pieces, but there are a ton of variables. So after watching, and I told them this, I said, look, I don't want to call this a scam, but after watching this, I don't feel equipped to handle it. And I know sports betting. Like, I do this for a living. There are people who are going to purchase this and think this is their ticket with less knowledge than I have, and they're going to be ticked. They're going to be livid, because there is not enough in the course to where a sports bettor can then turn around and implement it in a way where they feel like they can be successful. Now, people have already won. People have had success, but I think there are a lot of variables that are not being discussed. So that's the first point. So the second point is their Discord. I think that's going to be the valuable piece of this, because I asked them, I said, can I talk to people who have bought this course? I want to talk about how they're structuring their bets, how they're building their slips. And I will say, ParlayPros has been very kind to answer all of my DMs. They've tried to help me. They've shown me examples of their own slips. I've sent them slips that I've built saying, what do you think of this? And they give me critique and info. So that's the good. Like, as far as a customer service standpoint, like, they are trying to do right by my purchase, right? They didn't just ghost me. I fundamentally believe that these are good people who are operating this, and they have a legitimate product, but their product is not reasonable for 99% of sports bettors and someone who knows what he's doing. So the first thing I'll say is this. I think I was led on to believe that my FanDuel account would be serviceable in all of this, without getting into the details of their execution. I will just say that in their course, they show a large number of actual winning slips in terms of, DraftKings. They show, I'll just say this, they show 14 different winning bet slips. That's a lot. 14 different examples of huge wins. Like, they have an edge. It works. None of those 14 are recreatable on FanDuel as of today. So I have 14 examples when I was told, like, you can get that. If you have FanDuel, you're good. Well, your course has 14 examples that prove that I'm not good. Now, what they argue is the strategy can work. Like, you can tweak certain things. But in order to actually capitalize and maximize and optimize their strategy, I need access to a lot of other rec books that I don't have. And I was told that FanDuel would be enough. And I think that's where I get a little frustrated, because after watching their course, there are elements within that course in terms of the plus EV side of things that are not executable on the FanDuel. So we'll just say that. So what sent me over the edge? Why did I make the tweet this morning saying I had purchased this, and what is causing me to come forward? Because ultimately, I think people have to be very careful. Obviously, they advertise that they have a long shot same game parlay strategy. Like, all of their bets involve high variance. And when you don't help bettors finalize, here's the analogy. I'll give you the analogy. Sorry, I haven't showered. That's why my hood's up. Look at my hair. Here's the analogy. And this is kind of what I told them. this is what the course is like. It's like you walk into two chefs, a seminar with two bakers. And they say, here's an example. Here are 14 examples of some really good cookies. I mean, these cookies are unmatched in the bakery landscape. Nobody is making cookies like us, right? And I tried a cookie. Oh man, that tastes good. I'd like to be able to do that. If I could recreate a cookie like this, that would be huge. And your course is supposed to help me. Well, that's true. Our course is supposed to help you, but our course is not going to show you how to exactly make the cookie. Well, what's your course going to do? Okay, so what our course is going to do is our course is going to say, here is your target. Your target is a really good cookie. And here are tons of ingredients. Here are an almost endless amount of ingredients. And here is one specific strategy we want you to aim for. And we want you to use all of these ingredients to aim for that strategy. Well, how do I know what ingredients are best? That's up to you. But you guys have done this so many times. You guys have perfected the cookie. Why can't you just tell me what ingredients are good? Well, it varies by person. That baker and that baker do it differently. Just follow the strategy. Well, I can't make a good cookie unless you tell me what ingredients I need to use. Well, we're going to outline a list of possible ingredients, and it's kind of up to you. And their justification for this is if we told you exactly what ingredients, if we actually shared bet slips, if we actually said, here, this is a good bet, copy this, then books would catch on. And to some degree, I hear them, right? If you can execute this strategy in a ton of different ways, then it's harder for books to track. Sure, valid. But it's also harder for sports bettors to emulate. It's also harder for a paying customer to feel confident in recreating these bet slips. So again, why make this 17 long minute video that nobody's probably going to watch in terms of people who are interested in buying this course? Last night, I placed some bets using their strategy, and one of which was fairly close to winning. I mean, one of which was within we were down to like 8 minutes in the game, and I almost hit a 100-1 play. So, marginal compared to what sometimes they show. And afterwards, I sent the screenshot to the ParlayPros account, and I said, close, right? Like, this is pretty close. And he says, oh, I wouldn't have used that player in that instance. What do you mean? You said it's up to the ingredient. Well, the data says, what data, right? Their course doesn't provide data. They are handicapping in addition to implementing this strategy. I don't have access to what they've handicapped. I don't have access to the data. I don't know which players are better to target in certain situations. And I get that he's trying to help. And he also says, well, all that information will be available for the Discord. Well, the Discord is an additional $50 a month. So now I've paid you $1,000 for a course, and I can't get into the Discord unless you buy the course. So you have to pay a $1,000 entry fee to then pay $50 per month to get into this course. And so that's where I'm a little bit frustrated with how it's been marketed. And I think the biggest thing I would say is do not get this course unless you're ready to pay $1,000 for a relatively worthless course, a well-made course that is informative, but ultimately worthless in terms of actually using the information and making the cookies, actually creating the bet slips. You can create them, but they're not going to be optimized clearly, because last night I sent one that I made using the course to him, and he says, it's not optimized. You shouldn't use that player. How your course didn't, right? So that's a little bit frustrating. And I explained that to him prior to that night. And he always said, it's in the Discord. You just wait for the Discord. So I will see, right? Like, I'm kind of trapped now in terms of I'm going to have to pay $50 to join the Discord so that I can get access to this information and try to hopefully hit a slip to get my $1,000 back and then just be done. Because that's the other thing. When you think about what this course entails, their edge exists, but their edge involves insane variance. So I have to sit here and stomach a potential, and I knew this going in, like this is not a complaint, but it is a warning. You're going to have to stomach hundreds of dollars in losses before you hit the one. And there are people out there who are not equipped to do that. Most sports bettors are not equipped to approach betting in that way. And the people who are probably too intelligent to buy $1,000 course. And then you have me, who just falls right in the middle. It's too stupid to know better, just I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. So my advice is if I could undo the purchase right now, I would, knowing what I would know now, I would 1,000% undo the purchase. If they offered me a refund right now, said, hey, stop talking about us. Let us do our own thing. We'll refund your money. You know what I'd say? I'd say this $1,000 was worth it to warn people not to buy this course. I don't know. It's a weird situation because they clearly have an edge, but their edge is masked by some sketchy marketing, just some sort of unfair situations. I don't know. I have a lot to say about this. I could talk about this for a while, but I appreciate you guys coming by and listening at this time. Enjoy the March Madness games today. I love you all.